Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to J&J Squared Circle Wrestling Updates and Commentary. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our Raw recap for 5/20/2019. This is the Raw right after Big Dog Money in the Bank. Okay, so if you want a little bit of a recap on what happened with this pay-per-view last night, check out our other video. By all means, very detailed on how everything went down. Check it out. This particular show is basically going to cover just simply Raw. Real quick video, just basically on everything that happened. I am your host, Josh. My buddy, my partner in crime, my co-host, John. He's not able to make this show. I'm sure he'll be pretty sad to miss it, but he will be back here tomorrow. For now, you guys have me. I promise I won't do you wrong. So let's get down into it, okay? I mean, Raw last night had a lot to promise us. Just going into it with everything that they said that was going to happen, and I don't know. It wasn't really that impressive of a Raw personally. It seems like they're kind of falling short on a lot of things, and they missed opportunities for great nostalgia moments, things like that. But let's break into it, okay? The biggest news of last night was the fact that Brock Lesnar won the men's ladder in the match. Or ladder in the match. The men's ladder match for the Money in the Bank briefcase for the men. So, naturally, Raw opens up with Brock Lesnar's music. Lesnar comes out, pretending that the briefcase is a boombox, smiling, mocking the crowd, basically, kind of, ha, 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 you thought you got rid of me. He came out with, obviously, Paul Heyman. And they make it all the way to the ring. Paul Heyman does his natural Paul Heyman, stuff. And, basically saying that, now everybody should be worried. The tension's in the air. And with that, Seth Rollins comes out immediately, marches straight to the ring, basically, tells Lesnar that he's not the champion, that he's not even close to the champion that Rollins is. Rollins' goal is to be the champion that he never was, such and such. And basically told Brock that unless you're a weenie, why don't you cash in that Money in the Bank right now? They go face to face. Heyman steps in and says, well, who do you think you are? What makes you think that, Brock Lesnar even wants to cash in on you? What if he wants a new challenge and he wants a new day, and hence Kofi. Kofi winds up, his music comes on. Kofi comes out and says, if you're going to be cashing that Money in the Bank contract tonight, you're going to cash it on me, because he wants to, build his legacy, and blah, 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 and a whole bunch of things wind up going down. And basically, They teased the two, said, well, you guys aren't done yet. The opportunity hasn't arisen yet, blah, blah, blah. Kofi and Rollins look at each other, don't know what's going on. Cut to commercial break. The next cut scene that comes on, Mick Foley finally arrives. He's got the new title over his shoulder. It's got a WWE wrapping around it, so you can't see what it is. And then it cuts to Sami Zayn, basically being a crybaby and a weenie. And this time he's begging Bobby Lashley to help him take on Braun Strowman. Bobby Lashley says, "You're on your own, dude," and winds up leaving him. Sami walks out with his tail between his legs, heading to the ring to face Braun Strowman. Braun finally, they cut to commercial break. Braun finally comes out. Sami runs. Braun ends up chasing after him. And ring around the rosy, around the entire arena. Finally, Braun gets the upper hand, carries him to the ring. Match continues, basically lasts about 2 or 3 minutes. Braun Strowman ends up power slamming him. Match is over. They basically announce that little miniaturized feud is over, and then they move on. And I believe the next in line for him is Bobby Lashley. So look for that to happen probably at Showdown or something. And then cuts to Seth Rollins and Kofi Kingston. And they're basically walking behind the scenes. They don't know what's going on. Finally they run into Hunter. They ask Hunter, hey, what's going on? What is Brock Lesnar talking about? And Hunter basically tells them that their matches last night were incredible. They both did a great job, and now they're going to team up, and they're going to have to face Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin. And they look at each other, classic WWE behind the scenes shenanigan looks, and then we move on from there, and finally it looks like Lars Sullivan is going to speak a few words. They decide to interview him in the middle of the ring. He comes out. He's about to start talking, and Lucha House Party interrupts, and it looks like that they're pretty much ready for a fight. They start taking off their stuff, and they attack him. And it looks like they're going to get the upper hand. But instead, excuse me, Lars finally gets his rhythm, starts tossing them around the ring a little bit, and winds up getting the upper hand once again. And then we move on real quick to Ricochet versus Cesaro. Now, Ricochet was in the back getting taped up. Cesaro comes out, starts kind of, poking fun at Ricochet's ribs about, you don't have to do this, everybody will understand that you're too hurt and yada, yada, yada. Egging him on. Ricochet goes out, and he fights Cesaro. It was mainly one-sided, just about everything Ricochet did. He was hurt, he was taped up. Obviously, it was all a play, and Cesaro wins that matchup between Ricochet and himself. So next, you cut to AJ. He's in the back giving an interview, doing the classic, I wasn't the better man. I will start from the bottom, work my way back up, and I'll be better than ever type speech. Corbin comes out and literally says just that to AJ. He's like, that's awfully lame. Nobody wants to hear it. It never happens. Da-da-da. You lost, and I've beaten Rollins. You haven't. Therefore, you didn't deserve it. Blah, blah, blah. And, talking about a slap in the face, being there, and AJ says, well, you know what else is a slap in the face? And he literally slapped the shit out of Baron Corbin, which was pretty good. I gotta say I liked it. I liked that ending for it a lot. And Corbin winds up leaving with his tail between his legs. And the next one is Roman Reigns. He winds up coming out, talking a whole bunch, and interrupted by Shane and Elias. I believe it was Elias. Anyway. This is a really boring segment, and basically what Shane was saying was he's done with the Miz. He doesn't want to deal with the Miz anymore, and it was basically a setup to set up a fight between Roman Reigns and Shane McMahon at Showdown. Okay, so it was just a basic long segment. If you're not familiar with the way that Raw works, Raw basically fills their entire show with these ridiculously long segments to fill up the time slot. And this was definitely one of those time slot fillers. So move on from there. It shows Becky Lynch in the back getting ready for her time at Moment of the Bliss. And then it shows Lesnar with Heyman, with the briefcase, doing their, I'm the beast bull crap. And then I cut to the next one, which is Usos versus the Revival, which was actually a great match. In my opinion, it was by far the best match of the night. These two tag teams can put on a hell of a show, man. They are just so good. Usos, you just can't go wrong. They have really cemented themselves as a phenomenal tag team, and every time they get in the ring, it's always just a great show. This was no different. Revival got the upper hand. They ended up winning that matchup with a roll up, holding the tights. I could see this feud going for a couple more. Then we had a little cutscene about the Firefly Funhouse, and it was kind of essentially it wasn't anything new. It was just kind of a review of thus far, and I'm assuming tomorrow night we're gonna get the same thing. And at the end it just said, "Let me in." I don't know. You tell me. Next thing you know, you got Alexa Bliss, and she comes out with Nikki Cross. I can see this coming a mile away, guys. They're setting up a feud between Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. But Nikki's trying to make a friend because supposedly everybody in the back is, they've been against her and laugh at her. And they come out for Moment of Bliss, and Becky Lynch is her guest. So she calls out Becky, starts talking a lot of noise. The Iconics come out. They start talking a lot of noise. Becky basically says, I defended my titles more in one night than you guys have since WrestleMania. And at that note, Lacey comes out, and they start bickering back and forth. Becky basically says that I could take you all on, and she's like, why don't I take you guys in the ring, and then I might become Becky 3 belts. And Nikki volunteers to fight with her. There's still a woman down, and they basically tell, Alexa that she's going to be in it. Alexa's like, well, I didn't volunteer for this. And they said, just stand there and be pretty, which basically she did. All she did was stand there with a cup of coffee in her hand and watch, the whole match go down. At the end of it, Becky, Nikki, and Alexa, they wind up winning. Alexa comes in to celebrate with them, and Becky kind of just, shoe fly, and she holds the title up in the air. She's holding Nikki's arm in the air, and blah blah blah. It was an okay match. It's just, I can't stand the Iconics. They're so loud and obnoxious. It's just annoying. It actually makes, honestly, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but honestly, it whenever they're in the ring, it just makes watching the match just awful, and it makes me want to turn the channel. And the only reason why I don't, you guys, is because I want to make sure that I have some details I don't want to miss something for you guys. But for the most part, I really want to go to watch something else. It's just awful. So, but it is what it is. So, the sacrifices we make for you. So, moving on. Now's the time. Mick Foley comes out. It's time to unveil the brand new title. Last night we had a prediction, and the prediction was basically true. he basically announces that the new title is going to be called the 24/7 title, and it's going to be used across all brands. So Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 205 Live, okay, UK, all of those brands are going to have access to this belt. And for those of you that are with us, that were around for the Attitude Era, know about the Hardcore belt. This is a knockoff of that. Okay, it's essentially a Hardcore belt, falls count anywhere as long as there's a referee to do a 3 count. You have to defend it no matter where you are. It could be in your hotel room, it could be in the hallway, it could be in your car, wherever. Doesn't matter. I don't know what Vince has against the Hardcore name. The only thing I could think of is that he's still holding on to bits and pieces of the PG era, and he doesn't want to call it Hardcore. My other opinion is that he simply wants to separate himself from ECW and things like that, because let's face it, the Hardcore title was around when it first started coming about. ECW was in full swing, and it was another threat to the company. And so they created the Hardcore title so they can have something to match them, so it gives them a little bit of what they're doing on their show. And my theory is that they're calling it the 24/7 belt so they can get away from the Hardcore name. But it's essentially what it is, you guys. And when he announced that it was a 24/7 belt, not the Hardcore belt, it actually wasn't well received. Quite a few people booed. It just simply was not it's not what they wanted. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, and this is what I meant at the beginning of the show, that there was kind of a missed point of nostalgia. You know, it kind of gave people kind of hope to kind of get something back that they once had. That makes sense. So how they started it off, you come and get the belt, or first one to the belt wins the belt. So basically, Mick Foley lays the belt in the middle of the ring. First to grab it is the new champion. That's it. And everybody came down. EC3, people like that. Mojo Riley. And, late at night, Titus O'Neil made it to the ring first. So Titus O'Neil, WWE's very first 24/7 champion, only to lose it by the time he walked back up the ramp to Robert Roode. So Robert Roode became the new 24/7 champion, and and that was it for that time. The next match was The Miz versus Drew McIntyre. This is a pretty good match. I gotta say, I really appreciate the new kind of fighting attitude, but still a face Miz. He's more aggressive. He's got a better move set. I really like it, and he went at Drew McIntyre really well. At the end of the day, Drew McIntyre won this match, but it actually was a good match. It was a really good match. And then from there, we cut to outside. Robert Roode is in a huff to try to get out of the arena and try and leave with that belt in his life. And R-Truth basically caught him off guard and got the pin on him. And R-Truth is the new 24/7 champion. And basically walked away with that by the end of the night. Which is actually kind of interesting because I don't know if I said it last night on the show or not, but I definitely said it to John earlier that I believe that if it was indeed going to be the Hardcore belt, that belt was going to be probably tossed around at least 3 times tonight. And sure enough, it was. Obviously, it's a 24/7 belt, but it's definitely a play off the hardcore belt. Kind of an interesting thing. The next matchup was Kofi, Rollins, and Bobby and Corbin. It was a good match. What can I say? All 4 wrestlers are great wrestlers. And they put on a hell of a show. It was highly predictable. Okay, it was obvious that Kofi and Rollins was going to win. They're the champions. You can't have the 2 world champions lose when they team up together. It's just, you want those 2 to be the most powerful people in the company. So it was highly predictable. Because of that, for me personally, it wasn't really that enjoyment to watch because I kind of already knew the outcome of it before it was going to begin, and so basically, Kofi and Rollins teamed up. Kofi came off top rope, did his whole thing. Pinned 1, 2, 3. It's all over. Kofi and Rollins are celebrating. End of the show. So overall, I give the show about 3 stars. It was definitely a better show than what we've been having. But now we're kind of back on that. How do I say it? It's we're kind of back in that building stage now. Now we got to build new feuds. The new thing coming is Superstar Showdown. And they're actually building that show up quite a bit. It's quite well. We're gonna see more out of SmackDown tomorrow, and I promise you guys we're gonna be on again tomorrow. Really looking forward to providing these videos for you, and we're actually gonna be providing more. So, but as these start to build up, we're gonna start getting more and more idea of where things are gonna go throughout the month. Overall, it was a good show. I give it that. So, you guys, I'm going to cut it off right here. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch the video. A big shout out to my partner John out there. I know he's probably watching. He'll be back on here again tomorrow with me and given, so we can go into better details, things like that. But I didn't want to get too long into the video. Again, you guys, tomorrow we will be on again right after SmackDown doing the same thing, giving you guys a rundown on what's going on. If we catch hints of where they might be going with things, we're going to put it into our video. We're going to tell you guys what's going on. And keep you guys in the loop. We got a lot of experience over, actually digging into WWE rather than just watching it and assuming. We dig down deep. Okay, we try to get to the bottom of it. So, and we'll throw those in as we can go along. And check us out tomorrow, right after SmackDown. Okay, and then we're gonna have another show on Saturday for what we call our weekly recap, which is basically everything that's happened. We go into way more detail on the latest news and things that's happened, and we really dig down deep. So catch that show every single Saturday. And you guys, thank you again so much. I'm gonna let you guys go right now. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.